morning, everybody. Welcome to a new vlog. We're letting the kittens have some indoor time, so they're playing inside on my lap. I woke up and literally my mom had just walked in and brought them to me and I almost cried. I needed to start a new vlog because I uploaded one a bit ago and then read a couple days and didn't vlog really any of it. So, reading updates. I'm currently still reading Life After Life by Whitney Atkinson, which is a book about a woman in England who was born in the 1910s, and it just follows the trajectory of her life growing up and then whenever all the world wars break out. But the twist is every time that this main character dies, her life starts over from the beginning, and then history changes just a little bit with her new intuition that she finds after experiencing each life, so that she's able to survive past the previous point that she had died in her last life. The book starts out in the prologue where she kills Hitler. So it's this take on if you could do anything and you had the chance to redo your own life, like what chances would you take? What would you do? And I think it's a really interesting take. I love the concept of this book. It is written so beautifully. What are you doing, ma'am? But I've been reading this since the beginning of the year and it's taken me so long. I'm currently on page 387 out of about 500. It's getting pretty boring now because it's taking place during World War II and there's lots of different timelines because she keeps dying, obviously, because it's the war. Because sometimes she's in Germany and then sometimes in different lives she's in England and it's very hard to keep straight at this point which timeline is which. But I'm enjoying it. Like, I'm not complaining. I think it's a really cool concept. I'm probably still gonna give it 4 stars. And then I wanted to start something on audiobook because I've had a lot of cleaning to do. I've wanted to do stuff while I read and not just read it physically. So I actually picked up A House in the Sky by Amanda Lindhout. Not what I was expecting it to be, but I'm really liking this. I knew that this book was about a woman who had been captured by the Taliban and then they wanted ransom money for her, so she was just held captive for a while. So I was kind of going into this expecting it to be almost this horror novel about how she was trying to get through that. But in reality, this book is all about how she got into traveling so much and why she was in the position that she was in, why she was in the countries that she visited. And so the first half of this book, and that's about where I am, I'm like in the first third still, it's all just talking about her travels and how that affected her as a person and what led her to want to be a photographer and a news gatherer. So I think there's a lot of setup to what's coming, and even though we haven't really gotten to the part, they just arrived in Somalia, which is the country that she was kidnapped in, but I think that intro of the places she's been and the things she experienced, it was both interesting and I think necessary. So I'm really liking both of these books. A House in the Sky is a really good audiobook. The narrator is the author, so I recommend that if you're interested. So far, no Islamophobic vibes, which I was kind of worried about going into this, but so far she's been really respectful about talking about these countries. Ow! Don't bite me, you vicious woman. I need to go babysit. I'm probably gonna read while these kittens attack my legs. I've been mad chillaxing for the past couple days. That book I've been reading is really good and really engaging, so I've been putting in time toward that, and I listened to it today for a couple hours, but right now it's mid-evening. I actually have to go to the store because I have a couple returns, and I did a poll on Twitter. Should I go to the store and risk driving even though I'm nervous? So I'm gonna go do this return. Even though I hate driving this truck because it's so huge and every time I park I feel like I'm gonna hit someone, or I actually do hit someone. Let's go, girls. Do. Thanks. Wow, I love coming home to a nice clean bed. Good morning, everybody. Hi. I look like a shrimp. So it's almost 1 a.m. Here's what my life is. I have been untangling this yarn and rolling it into a ball for the past 2 hours and I'm still not done. I have this tiny bit left, and ironically this is the worst part of it that I for some reason can't solve. In that time that I spent unraveling that ball, I finished up my audiobook, A House in the Sky by Amanda Lindhout. Wow. But this book I was legitimately flying through and I was like, oh yeah, this is what it feels like to read a book and be like, I don't want this to stop. Because for so long I've been reading books that I'm really tired of and like I don't get excited by reading, and I feel like I'm just waiting for it to be done. But this book actually was so gripping. It's one of those types of memoirs where it's just so hard to insert yourself in her shoes, because I could not even imagine what I would do if I was in her situation. I'm actually really interested in hearing, and the guy that was also kidnapped has a book from his point of view, and I really want to read that because this book has a really interesting take on the treatment of the woman versus the man when they were kidnapped, especially the ways they were taken advantage of, and the man received so much better treatment, and Amanda took a lot of the blame for stuff that was so unfair. So I'm wondering if we read it from his perspective, if he addresses that. But wow, that was heavy. That was so good, but it was heavy. I think it's gonna be like 4.5 stars. The writing was really beautiful. She made a lot of good points about like resilience and how isolation affects you, and just how even though something bad happens to you, I guess being able to forgive people because of the way they were raised. I don't know if that sounds at all problematic, but I think seeing them as like boys in a war-torn country and being able to forgive them instead of harbor like this intense hatred of Islam, I think was actually pretty respectable. So I liked it. This was actually a book I was planning on unhauling because it was something I bought without even ever having heard of it, and I'm glad I held on to it because that was one of the most gripping memoirs I've ever read. So yeah, I definitely recommend that if you can deal with like sexual assault and being mishandled. They were literally being held captive and often tortured, so it's grueling at bits, but I think it's worth it just to hear her story and then hear the way that she was able to come through that. It's just unreal. I wish this just had more at the end about what she was doing afterward, because there's a lot on how she's into philanthropy and she went to school for international organizations and stuff, so I would like to see like what is she doing, how is she faring. So that I guess is the reason why it's not a full 5 stars. So I was looking on Scribd to see what new audiobook I can get. Oh great, and it didn't save. So I was looking at Queen of Air and Darkness. I don't know if I want to do that. I keep saying I need to read that one soon, but then I'm like, it's also February and I might want to do like a Black History TBR. I need to finish this book. There's other books that are easier to read. You know what? I think I'm gonna do it just because it's probably gonna take me another 4 hours to untangle this, and then I have maybe like an hour more. By the way, the reason I'm untangling this is because I started with my knitting again. So yes, the Gryffindor scarf is back. The scarf of a house I'm not even in. So I want to finish that up tonight. I think I'm gonna go ahead and get Queen of Air and Darkness, unless I can find it from my library, which I'm gonna go look right now. Because again, those Scribd credits, they're precious. You gotta ration them. Alright gals, ignoring the fact that I have a Girl Scout tab up to see where I can get Girl Scout cookies, let's go to our library. Queen. Aha! Yes, we're getting it from Scribd. Here's the thing. I don't remember anything that happened in the previous books, but I'm also too lazy to rewatch. I know like Sarah Without an H did her like recap of the series. I don't feel like watching that, so I'm gonna wing it. Don't let me down, Cassandra. Cassandra? That's not even her real name. I'm gonna keep ranting while I'm here, even though this is the first rant I've done, I think. Yesterday I paid $10 for this dingleberry. I'm just really out here trying to listen to music on my iPhone 10. But you need this to do anything. You know how much car time I've had where I've had to listen to the radio because I didn't have an aux cord that connected to my iPhone 10. Hi party people. It's been a relaxing couple of days, which means I haven't done so much, which is bad. But I bought another book from Depop because Depop is just funding all my bad choices lately. The book is called Playing with Matches by Hannah Orenstein. This is about a woman who has a boyfriend that she's kind of like with. She gets hired to work at a matchmaking agency where all day she spends looking at people's profiles and matching people together and giving them dating advice, but she doesn't really get to use that for herself. Then one day she and her boyfriend break it off and she pursues something with one of the matches and one of the guys that she sees on this platform, which is kind of taboo because she's like the employee. She's not supposed to make a move on any of the people that she is working with. So this book just sounds adorable, and it sounds like another adult romance that I can add to my already teeming and overflowing adult romance shelf. Oh wait, lighting. Hello. Can I voice a gripe really quick? Whenever I first came home and I had my bookshelves back up, I was so ecstatic because you don't understand, like, I know you don't have to have bookshelves to be a booktuber. Cindy has a really good video on this that I'll link down below. But it felt so weird not having a place to film. Every shelf in this room, I have read every single book on that shelf. So it's like, it gives me a lot of pride. So I was super happy when I got home and I'm able to film in front of these, but now I'm kind of sad that I can't put all my bookshelves back to back because there's no room. And I feel like this doesn't look as good as if I were to have 2 shelves, but that's just me being gripey in particular about something that doesn't matter. I'm having to remind myself that, like, even if I just had this one shelf, which is the Booktube shelf I started out with, if you remember my old videos, this is my OG shelf that I had like all of my books in back when I first started, and now it's on 4 shelves and it's even overflowing from that. It's not even that I don't feel like a booktuber, it's just like when I'm editing and the shot isn't as pretty as I want it to be, it just doesn't give me any motivation to keep editing. So that is that. Today I've been knitting. I am almost done with that pattern I showed previously. Then a friend came over to take pictures. So in the couple of hours that I was listening to my audiobook, I got through 122 pages of Queen of Air and Darkness. But so far, so good. I was concerned that I wouldn't remember what's happening. I would get bored with all the POVs, and a little bit of both of those are happening, but not enough that it's really hindering my experience. I think the only thing is some side characters are a little unclear, but it keeps reminding me with certain little details, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, wait, that's that person. Not gonna lie, there are a couple of points of view and plot points that I don't care about, that I'm tempted to just skip through, but since I'm listening to it on audio, it's forcing me to slow down and actually hear it out. Whereas if I was reading it in physical format, I'm sure I would start skim reading. For example, Diego, don't know who that is, don't really care about his point of view, but a welcome surprise that I enjoy about this book so far, and the reason why I'm kind of skim reading it along as I listen, is because this book comes with pictures. I love it. I wish that more YA books did that and like gave us a little something, even though Magnus looks very whitewashed in that photo. I'm actually super enjoying this. I was unsure if I would be able to get back into it, but I immediately was feeling the feels about Julian and Emma, and I remember thinking I used to not like Emma because I thought she was super annoying, and like, I know she's a teenager, but she always just talked really corny. But I think for some reason, reading it versus listening to it, whenever I was reading it, I would read her dialogue as super corny, but now that I'm listening to it, it sounds totally fine. And I never have been like, ugh, that was corny. So I think the audiobook is actually really helping, because now that it's the 3rd book in a series and I know the world, I know the characters, it's much easier to listen to than if I were to listen to the first one where I'm having to like figure out new things for the first time. So yeah, the audiobook I think is 30 hours total. I'm listening to it on 1.8 speed. Disgusting! So hopefully I'll read more of this tonight. I'm gonna try and get a good chunk of the way through it this weekend, but I don't anticipate that I will be able to finish it within a couple of days. It's long. I also am really interested in doing like a Black History Month TBR, so I want to get together some of the maybe Own Voices books about Black girls, or not even Black girls, but just Black authors, Black main characters. Actually, let me do that right now while I'm thinking about it. Okay, so you can't see my TBR shelf, nor can you see me in good lighting. What else is new? I know for a fact I have a romance book that is Own Voices. There it is. A lot of people are reading this recently, but this is A Princess in Theory by Alyssa Cole. So this book is about a former foster kid named Naledi, who keeps getting emails from an African prince saying she's betrothed to him, but she just deletes them thinking it's spam. Right here the lighting gets really dark and I start to look like James Charles, so I'm gonna change the lighting, but I'm too lazy to do the exact same thing for every single clip and have to re-edit it, so the lighting is gonna change really randomly right here. I just licked the mic. Disgusting! Something about this guy being a prince and this girl being like the heir to his kingdom or something like that. But then it's like a prince and a pauper situation where she doesn't realize he's a prince, and so they start talking and all this good jazz. I have a non-fiction book about feminism that's from a Black author called This Will Be My Undoing by Morgan Jerkins, pardon me, when the old man Jenkins slips out. So these are all linked essays that talk about pop culture, feminism, Black history, misogyny, and racism. Speaking of Black excellence, Mrs. Michelle Obama. I have this book on hold in the library. I am eagerly waiting for it to come in so I can listen to it as soon as possible. Definitely intend on reading this as soon as I get my hands on a copy of this audiobook because love the Obama family so much. Cannot wait to hear their story, and it's narrated by Michelle, so it's gonna be the best experience ever. I also have a book by Roxane Gay, who is another renowned black feminist. Her book is called Difficult Women, and this is a collection of short stories, but I do have one more option for nonfiction from black women if I would like to read, and this one is The Body's Not an Apology, The Power of Radical Self-Love by Sonia Renee Taylor, which is a book about body positivity, especially from that intersectional angle. This is by a black author, and I have heard great reviews. I have 2 more books from black authors that could possibly make it on this February TBR. So first is Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. This is about 2 young people from Nigeria that immigrate to other countries, the woman going to America and the man going to London. Ah yes, the beautiful country of London. And it's all about them going from living from a country and a continent that were both all black people to then having to adjust with the bigotry and the post 9/11 xenophobia of different countries and how that affects the different genders and the different countries that they go to. Also, this is a book that I've owned for a very long time, so I think I could knock 2 birds out with 1 stone and read it for Black History Month and then also read it as one of the oldest books on my TBR. And I don't know why I haven't picked it up yet because she is so critically acclaimed, and I think this book is gonna be fantastic. Finally, speaking of critically acclaimed authors, I have here The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. Toni Morrison is a renowned African-American writer. I'm not too well versed in her novels, but I do know that this is one of her most recognizable. This book is set in the 1940s in Ohio, and it's about this young black girl who realizes more and more that what society considers beautiful, which would be like blue eyes, she doesn't really match up with that image, and so her grappling with wishing that she had blue eyes. And then this goes on to talk about her journey dealing with those feelings of not being uncomfortable in her body. It just sounds heart-wrenching. I've held on to this for years because I'm just nervous to read it because I know it's going to be very heavy. I've heard a lot of the themes are very dark, but I think it's just going to be an important read that once again just talks about otherness. So I have 7 books here that I may or may not read in the month of February. I'm going to try and pick these up more than anything else. If anything, Michelle Obama, I am coming for you. That's my update for the night. Hey gal pals, I'm putting on makeup so I can film a video today, and I figured while we do that I was gonna film like a whole discussion. I have so many video ideas and I don't want to do any of them, and like even sitting down now for this clip, it's like not performative, but I just feel like I'm out of my mojo. And something I've realized is you have to turn on your makeup mirror when you do your makeup, but also something I've realized is filming is a habit, and I feel like I've fell out of that habit, like doing Vlogmas, and then before that when I was only filming occasionally, so it's difficult to want to film them, and I know it's just because I need to like get back into them. But like I have discussion videos and fun videos planned, but it's hard to find the motivation to want to do that, even though I know that's what everyone wants. They don't want just like the same videos over and over. But anyway, I wanted to update you on books I'm reading. So I've been listening to the audiobook for what's the 3rd one called? Queen of Air and Darkness. So I listened up until page 445, still only about halfway through. I'm quite enjoying it. I was anticipating it would be something like I only cared about a couple of the chapters and the rest of it was boring. And even though that's true for a couple people, it's mostly focusing on the people that I care about. So I'm actually really glad that I'm not just like sleeping my way through it. There's so much happening that I was not anticipating. Like characters from The Mortal Instruments are very relevant in this installment. The way that it's done is like almost a dream sequence, like Alice in Breaking Dawn Part 2 with her vision of the future. It's strange and it's so clever. I'm really liking it. So I've reached Part 2, if you know what that means. I don't know why I said, if you know what that means, like it's a secret club or something. I wasn't expecting I would be invested in it. I thought I would be like, it's way too long, I didn't really care about part of it. I care, and I think that just because of that, it's doing its job well. I'm even like rooting for the characters, and I really like all the ships and all the interactions. I don't really think any of the characters are corny, nothing like I was expecting, so I'm very happy about that. I'm also still currently reading Life After Life, but last night before I went to bed at like 4 AM, I was like, let me just read a couple pages of this just so that we can keep both of them going at the same time and I'm not giving more attention to one or the other. 410 pages into that one, so I only have like 90 more. And again, that book isn't bad. It's just not interesting. It's difficult to find the motivation to pick that one up just because I could be reading. Don't say porn, don't say porn, don't say porn. Porn. my camera ran out of space, we're gonna keep doing this on my phone. And I started, you know, I was knitting a Gryffindor scarf. I started a Ravenclaw scarf so I can finally have one for my own house. If you're wondering, the reason why I made a Gryffindor one is because it was the only colors I had. But then I went out and bought navy and silver, so now we can do my Ravenclaw scarf that I'm gonna keep. So I do intend on selling my Gryffindor one, so I feel like we covered all our bases in that one interview. Should I do champagne, gold, or copper? You should do some blending. That's what you need to be doing right now. I read that one nonfiction book. That book was so interesting and so fast-paced, and I think it really kick-started my reading. Because for the past couple of weeks, I've just been sort of in a trance and not really doing much because I feel like I don't really have any motivation. But that book was so interesting and made me eager to pick it up that I think it like knocked something into place. And now I'm like, oh yeah, reading's fun. So I've been on a roll. Not with blending my foundation, clearly. What else has happened? I chose which cat I want, but I think it's been a little bit obvious. I really like the tabby cat. The dark one with stripes. She is my number one woman. I want to name her something that's cute and feminine, but also like she can cut you. I'm really debating the name Rosalie. It's dainty, but also like try me. Like try and take away Bella's unborn baby, see what happens. You know, that common situation. So I'm liking that name, like Rosie for short. People keep saying to name her Juliet because I want a name that's like small girl but powerful. And here's the thing is I don't think I can do that for multiple reasons. I don't want to name her Juliet because the series isn't over, and like what if Juliet's not gonna die? But like, what if something happens that I don't foresee yet, and then she's stuck with the name of a character that, I don't know, I'm scared of things developing, and then I name her after a character that, like, went bad. I don't know. And also, Juliet and Warner, like, Shatter Me characters are basically my children, and it's like, you can't name a pet after a child. I named goats after Shatter Me characters a couple years ago, and it was just a little weird, but I don't think I can do it with something that's that close to me, because then it just becomes a little awkward. Hello, my loves. My cousin who I share a room with opens, and so she gets up at 3:30 and leaves every morning, and for some weird reason I've gotten into this routine of, instead of just like going to bed at a normal time, I feel it necessary to stay up until she leaves so that I can have like an hour of alone time, like having my lamp on and talking to a camera and like reading by myself before going to bed, which is not good because that means I go to bed at like 4 and 5 every morning. But hey, if I didn't, then you wouldn't be getting this clip, so take from that what you will. Today I took it pretty easy, but I did settle down and listen to a lot of my audiobook tonight after dinner. So I am now currently on page 560 of Queen of Air and Darkness, so more than halfway at this point. When I updated last, I hadn't even gotten to the point where I'm at now, where it's like so much is coming back. If you haven't read The Mortal Instruments, there's no point reading this because it is all just bringing back old drama for this book. 2014 Whitney is hollering. So I let that one rest for a while, and I actually picked up my ebook for Life After Life, but I'm really getting down to the wire with this book, and anytime that I start to feel myself getting bored, I just start skimming it. So I think in my final review I'm gonna be like, the first 300 pages were good, and then it stopped being that interesting. In the first half, the entire cast of characters was her family, and like I liked everyone, they were all really well fleshed out. But now it's just all these random side characters that she's friends with in the war, and we never really got to know them, and so I don't care about what happens to them. But yay, it's 4 AM and I haven't gone to bed. I'm only crying a little bit. Oh, there she goes. It's fine. I'm fine. I don't know why, but I have my February TBR like on my bed. I was looking at all the books that I had to read this month, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna pick up one of them right now, even though I'm in the middle of 3 other books right now. So I started The Body Is Not an Apology by Sonia Renee Taylor, and I'm out here weeping over it. I was coming at it strictly from the angle of like body image and like fatness, but this book actually talks more about the body in the sense that your body isn't just your size, your body is also your race and your disability and all this different stuff. It's about being comfortable in your body with race and gender and sexuality and disability, but then also accepting others and embracing the hypocrisy that you might have in judging other people while wanting to be accepted. So far, just from that little introduction, I was crying because it started talking about something that really hit home for me recently, which is a couple weeks ago in Curious Cat, me and my followers had gotten into this big debate because people were messaging me being like, I don't think it was like targeted at me specifically, but just in general talking about people overweight. You know, you need to lose weight so you can be healthy. And I hate that so much because it's like, it's none of your business if I'm healthy or not. Also, don't make assumptions about people. And this book talks about that, and it calls it health trolling or concern trolling because it's people who pretend to be concerned about your health when really they're just telling you to be skinnier. And it says, such behavior is not really about the person's health, but more likely about the ways in which we expect other bodies to conform to our standards and beliefs about what a body should or should not look like. And that just like smashed the hammer on everything that I was feeling the other week. And so like, it's books like these that I want to hand to those people and be like, you're not doing the good you think you're doing, you're just making fat people feel like shit. This book has already hit home, and that was on like page 10. So I'm actually super stoked to read this. There's only like 100 pages of it, and I think I'm gonna read a chapter of it every day, if not more. But it's 5 a.m. and I really need to go to bed and take off my makeup and go brush my teeth and actually get my life together. I just needed to update while I was still in that state, being like, wow, this book is so good. Good morning. So I didn't vlog yesterday because I really didn't have any time alone. I tried to vlog a clip in my closet just so that like people would leave me alone, and then someone walked in on me in the closet, which was weird. So good morning guys, new day, new me. I have several updates, so this might be a pretty lengthy clip, and because of that this lighting is annoying me. I don't want this to be like a 10-minute clip where I look bad, so we're moving. Anyway, so I finished a book, I got pretty far in another book, and then I got a book in the mail for review. So I want to talk about all three of those. I got a message on Goodreads about this, which typically I don't reply to Goodreads messages about reviews, but this one was for a book I actually really want. This book's called Notes on a Nervous Planet by Matt Haig. It's another nonfiction one that's all about how do we find peace in a technological society that profits off of our mental instability. I love Matt Haig's writing. If you don't follow him on Twitter, you should, and I'm really eager to read this. So thank you, Penguin, for dropping it in my mailbox. And then last night I finished a book. So I updated the other day saying that I had started The Body's Not an Apology. I finished it last night. As you can tell, I have several markings in here of different quotes that I liked. I was reading it with a pencil in my hand the entire book, and I feel like this could be so well geared toward reading it with a group or buddy reading it because this literally has discussion questions embedded into it. I loved this. I think I'm gonna end up giving this 5 stars. I like the way that this book comes at creating a better world, starting with yourself, because a lot of books that are about feminism are, here's what our ideas are, and here's what everyone else is saying that is against that, we need to change them. Whereas this was like, we all have done something to perpetuate a system, and we all need to recognize and fix ourselves before we try and spread that to other people. Beyond that, this book just had a lot about how to overcome certain feelings about yourself. Now I really have nothing bad to say about it, other than I don't know how efficient a system of promoting self-love would be for every single person in America, because I would love for every single person I know to pick up this book, but I don't know how realistic this is that everyone's going to embrace self-love as a way to cure the world of bigotry and prejudice. So it just seemed a little fanciful, even though I really dug the idea. The disbelieving part of me that things are never gonna get better, which is a voice that I have to train to go away based on this book, but it's also just really difficult to see if this would be effective, but I guess we're gonna try. So yeah, 5 stars. This was amazing. Highly recommend. So I read like 70 pages of Life After Life last night because for some reason I skim read a part that was boring, and then it skipped to a part that I thought was fascinating. So then I got through a huge chunk of this section that was actually pretty interesting. So now I'm on page 482, so I have like 50 pages left. We're gonna be productive today. I'm gonna put on my Queen of Air and Darkness audiobook, and I'm gonna do stuff. Starting with cleaning this room because it is abysmal. Y'all see this? Who did that? Hey, you ready for some dinner? Y'all are so big and active now. Hi, love. You hungry? You hungry? Mama, you can't come on the table when I'm dishing out everything. Who's hungry? Are you hungry? babies get their own bowl now. And we're all done. I don't know if y'all got the memo, but this is the little one that I'm gonna keep. So this is my little girl. She doesn't want to be held right now, clearly. But I'm currently thinking of names for her. I think I want to name her Rosalie. Does she look like a Rosalie? I don't know yet. Are you a Rosie? She's like, I'm hyper is what I am. I don't want to be held right now. But I'm trying to get her to like me. You're not allowed to be up there. Come here. I want to give you so many kisses. Come here. They are so heavy. You are so big now. Hi, little love. I love you. You're so cutie. You're so cute. Hi, honey. Where's my goat? Hello, handsome. How's my boy? Hi. What? He's so sweet. Everyone who hates goats can fight me. Look at him. He just wants scratches. It's not food. It's not food. Good morning. Another day. Another cat destroying my yarn. What are you doing? That's my yarn. I need that. Last night I got through some of my scarf. I think I did this one too narrow. I wanted to make it smaller than the Gryffindor one I did, but now I think it's too small. So I might sell this one and make a bigger one for myself because I don't know how I feel about this one. Hi, little man. Are you a house cat? I think you want to be a house cat. You're very sleepy all the time. And then little Menace over here is just tearing it up. Huh, you're just being so rude. But she's so precious. I love her. You're so vicious, huh? So last night I was listening to my audiobook until like 5 a.m. and I got to page 676. Now I think I'm well on my way toward the end. I'm on the final stretch. The cats are looking at me like, what are you doing? So I'm gonna continue to cuddle my kitties and probably turn on my audiobook and finish that all up. What, you see my feet? Are you gonna attack? Yes, attack. You know, just the average day of feeding my goats some banana. Perhaps would you like some? You want some more? Did you want some of this? I have one more piece, Nelly. You almost didn't make it. You want that? That's all. That's all. I don't have any more. It's my fingers. It's my fingers. Okay, so I don't know how to say this, but I made some bad decisions today. Today I went and had a Barnes & Noble date with Rachel, who is one of my coworkers from PetSmart. She just took pictures of me here the other day, I think I mentioned. She loves to read. Actually, funny story, whenever I started at PetSmart, she recognized me, but she didn't know from where. Then later she realized, oh my gosh, I've watched her YouTube channel before. So it was just a little funny thing, us readers coming together. So we decided to go to Barnes & Noble. So I meant to only get 2 things, and here's the bag of stuff that I ended up acquiring. The main goods that I was there to acquire was... I knew this book was pretty. I didn't realize it was so shiny and so high quality. What? 5 stars for the cover alone. And honestly, for a Leigh Bardugo book, I've heard a lot of mixed reviews about this. So I'm not sure how I feel about it. The only thing is, I don't care about the Grisha trilogy. I loved Six of Crows, didn't care about the Grisha. This one follows a character that's from the Grisha trilogy who everyone loves, but I just felt okay about. Like, I have no lasting memory of him. So I'm just here because I like the world. I did want to buy it even before knowing anything about it, but now that I know a couple tidbits, I think I might be on the train of people who don't love it and don't hate it. I'm just here to see what it is because it's Leigh Bardugo, beautiful writing. She's masterful at making plots, so we'll see what that's all about. I have no clue what the plot of it even is. I just know whose perspective it follows, and it has characters from that world, and that's about it. Okay, and then I also got the other book I mentioned, 99 Days. It's actually called 99% Mine, but I've been brainwashed by Katie Catugno, so... This is another adult romance novel. This author is the author who wrote The Hating Game, which is one of my favorite books of last year, and it was so good and very deserving of the hype. This is her newest release that I know nothing about. Everyone says that The Hating Game is better than this one, but it's still good enough to want to pick up, so that's why I'm here. I know nothing can beat The Hating Game, but I love this author's humor. I love her writing style. She writes romances very soft and very lovely. So no matter what the plot of this book is, I'm just gonna dive into it. I had a New Year's resolution to actually read synopses of books before I start filming so that I don't have to edit out 10 minutes of me being like... Didn't happen apparently. Okay, and then I was accosted by other books in Barnes & Noble. As we were looking downstairs in the bestseller section and like the new releases, I saw this title in this cover and like I didn't even open the book and I just like put it in my arms that I'm getting it. Please have the same experience that I had while I was in the store. This book is called How to Date Men When You Hate Men. The title alone is golden. It's an attempt toward a unified theory of dating under the patriarchy where all men are bad. It's just poking fun at it, but either way, yes. And finally, the worst book buying decision that I made today. We were looking at the journals and I specifically told Rachel, and it's not her fault, but I told her, do not let me buy anything. And then I ended up vetoing that by having a Twitter poll decide whether I should get this journal or not. Everyone said yes, so here we are. I'm not gonna say how much this journal was. It was $40. But are you kidding me? I don't know if you can tell, but this is literally textured. You can feel it. It smells like paint. It was handmade in Italy. This tie is mustard. I am a mustard gal. Was it a ridiculous purchase? Yes. Am I going to use it for the next 3 years? Probably not. I have so many other journals to fill. How can I say no? In the words of Pretinger, how could I refuse? And how can I refuse? And finally, you should know I am a good slut for some stationery. So I got a couple of stationeries that actually weren't too expensive. So the first one I got is a little kit of Monet cards. There's 4 of them in here. They're just Lily. I love including cards to people that I send stuff to on Depop or just like Booktube friends. I'm always just giving out little thank yous and little notes. So these are always good to have on hand and they were pretty cheap for what they are. I love these little sloth ones. So if you order anything from me or if you ever want me to send you a letter, just LMK, you'll be getting one of these. So that's my Barnes & Noble haul. After Barnes & Noble, I was kind of tooting around and I was like, I kind of wanna go to the craft store. I was literally halfway home and then I just decided I'm gonna map the craft store because I want to go see if they have some. To make a long story short.
To make a long fucking story short.
I have been making bookmarks. Oh my god, Tahada. Oh, it is Tahada. Hold on. We gotta like it. What'd she say? What'd she say? Is it a Define Me snippet? Probably not. Ooh. Tour dates for Define Me coming soon. Okay, what am I doing? Anyway, I started making bookmarks because I know how to hand letter and I have paper. So I put 2 and 2 together. I've been making them, I've been selling them for like $1. We love a businesswoman, but I really wanted to kind of up the ante because I was laminating them, but that just meant that I was using clear plastic tape on both sides. So I decided I'm just gonna do it. I don't know how these work. I don't know if it's gonna ruin my bookmarks. I don't know if this is gonna be a waste of money because I got like a full sheet one and I just need it for like a bookmark. And I'm gonna hope for the best. And if I regret it and this sucks, I'm just gonna return it. So that's everything I bought today, but there's stuff that I bought in the past that came in the mail today. But these are from Book Depository. I never really order from Book Depository unless I'm getting it for someone else overseas, but there were some editions and international editions of some books that I wanted to pick up, and it was only available through Book Depository. So I'll start with this one because it's more exciting. It's a book I have not read. No! Are you serious? They sent me the wrong one. That's annoying. Time to do a return for a book that took literally months. No, like weeks to get here. I ordered the Education of Cameron Post, but I wanted the one with the rainbow spine, and this is just the movie cover. What person willingly buys the movie cover? I'm disappointed. I'm gonna return this, but this book deserves a mention, so I'm gonna talk about it anyway. This book is about a girl who is gay, and so she gets sent to a conversion camp, and it's about the friendships she makes there and how she handles that and living with a conservative aunt. Again, the movie came out, so there's a movie cover, which is not what I ordered. So Book Depository is gonna get a very strongly worded email from the tone of a 40-year-old white woman. Sad day. I wonder if they even make that edition anymore if they're not sending it out.
Update, I emailed them and they do still make that edition, but these hoe-ass punks put the same picture for two of them, but only one of them was the actual special edition and the other one was a movie cover. And I happened to order the one that was the movie cover, but they just had the wrong preview image. Still upset. I was wronged. I was misled. I was bamboozled.
Again, I really only order from Book Depository when I need a specific edition. This one was not in any stores in the US, so I think it might be an international edition. I'm not sure. LMK. This collector's edition of Six of Crows. Just shut up. Special edition, it's got those gold, what's it called, foil on the front and the red dyed pages. Red map in the front. I don't think there's any bonus material. Oh, there is. There's a new little foreword. I don't know if there's any deleted stuff in the back. Oh my gosh, is that a... Yeah, okay, there's little character stuff in the back. So there's a couple extra little features, but this is mostly just a pretty thing for my shelf because I adore this book so much. I know you know what it's about, but if you don't, this is a book that is a duology, and it's about these 6 characters who are all part of this little gang. They have this heist to go and rob this one foreign place because the leader of the gang is like obsessed with money, and they all each have their own little role in the groups, and they're very human for a fantasy story. And this book is so widely loved on Booktube, it really deserves it, and I just cannot wait to add this edition to my shelf. Just realized I don't have room for it. We'll figure it out. Okay, that's all that I have. So I told myself I wouldn't post this vlog until I finish Queen of Air and Darkness, and it's getting pretty hefty and pretty lengthy, so I really need to do that today, otherwise this vlog is going to be 3.5 hours long. My back hurts. Oh my lord! If y'all were wondering, these kittens are literally nuts now. No, ma'am. Ma'am. Ma'am, that's not for climbing. That's for the horses. Ma'am. Thank you. Are you possessed, Reggie? What's going on? Oh? Get him, Rosie. Oh, she a tech. Oh, she's scamper. This is... Oh! This is literally better than TV. I could watch this all day. And okay, so invitation to come to my place and just watch my cats run around and attack each other. Oh. Hi. I have like 150 pages left of Queen of Air and Darkness, so I know that I've had so many like intermittent clips in between last time I updated and now, but I'm gonna finish this tonight, I guarantee. Also, I have like 20 pages left of Life After Life, so I just need to finish those 2 books and then we can end this, but like, stick with me. I feel like I've been listening to this book for 3 years and I'm on page 840 and I still have like 50 pages left and it's taking so long. The main conflict was over 100 pages ago. A side conflict that developed because of that was done 20 pages ago. What else? Cassandra Clare is the queen of dragging out endings. Oh my god, we're almost there. We're almost there. Here's my scarf update in all the time it's taken me to listen to this last 20% of the book. So I passed out last night. I kind of look like Lord Farquaad right now. I was not able to finish my book because I got so tired and I was like, you know what? I can finish 80 pages tomorrow. So we're gonna settle down and do that. Gleich jetzt. Okay, I'm still wearing the same outfit as I did yesterday because I fell asleep in it, so no judgments. But here's my last clip of this vlog because I finally just sat down and finished everything that I was reading throughout this whole thing. So, mainly, most importantly, I finished Queen of Air and Darkness. And tell me why I read an 800-page book marketed as the last book in a series, but it still had a cliffhanger? Cassandra, drop your location. I just want to talk. I feel bamboozled. I feel tricked. I think a funny thing Cassandra Clare does with her books is that the conflict of this will end on like page 700 and then she keeps the book going until page 900 because more and more things just keep tacking on. I think it's weird that she would like do the resolution and then like keep stuff going. So for like the last hour of this audiobook I was just kind of like, okay, and what else? But I'm pretty pleased with how this book ended. I got some comments on my last video where I was talking about currently reading this and a lot of people were being like, oh, I didn't really like this ending. I didn't mind it. Even though this book is massive and it took me like a week to read, I don't think any of it is necessarily redundant or unnecessary. Because like for Sarah J Maas books, there will be entire chapters that I skip because I just do not care about that side plot. But this book doesn't really have side plots. It just has a bunch of different perspectives about one main plot. So it's like every POV is essential to the telling of the story, so I never really lose track of it or get bored. But this series is just one that's like enjoyable for me and it like made me emotional at some points and I was getting super excited at the end when everything was all coming together and I got emotional a couple times when things were looking like they weren't gonna come together. So like I'm invested. It's just not my favorite. I don't know. I feel like I can distinguish between books like Six of Crows, The Darker Shade of Magic, The Diviners, where I read them and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love every single one of these characters. Because in this book there's a lot of characters that I really like, but since there's so many people and you only see each character in glimpses, it's like you can't really delve super deep into their character. So like although I love Julian and Emma, I love them in like an okay way. I'm obsessed with Ty and Kit. I hope that we get to see them more. And is the next book in 2022? Everyone keeps saying that the next one is until 2022. Is that one about Kit? I don't know what's gonna happen next, but Cassandra Clare definitely set up like 5 more subplots that are gonna happen. But yeah, I think I'm gonna give this one like a 4 stars. It was super enjoyable. It's just not like something that really sticks out for me. But it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be because I was assuming I would get bored and I would have to slog through this and it would be difficult. But I was actually pretty interested in everything. I liked all the perspectives and the characters. It's just like I wasn't completely head over heels for what was happening in this.
One thing that I forgot to mention that I think is important enough to necessitate this like afterthought video is I really liked how this book brought in a lot of the older characters from the Mortal Instruments series and the Infernal Devices, and it used them a lot to further the plot. They weren't just like secondary characters. They were involved in the action. They had a stake in it all. And it sort of makes it so that if you haven't read those series, reading this series is pointless. But I think that was also something that kept me kind of anchored to the world, where at parts, if I wasn't really caring about the Blackthorn family, I could be like, oh my gosh, but there's Jem. Or like, oh, Magnus. So there, I don't know. It was just something that kept me really engaged, and it was really nice to see all the old characters come back and I guess how they're aging. So, and even how like half of the book's plot is about like that, if you've read it, you know what I mean. Was not ready for that subplot, but I think it was clever. But again, it sort of makes it so that if you haven't read the Mortal Instruments, you're just like, what? But yeah, loved that part. Good job, Cassie.
Pretty solid conclusion, except for that dumb epilogue. I also sat down and finished the last of Life After Life by Kate Atkinson, which I have been reading for over a month now, so hallelujah, finally. Here's what I'll say about this. The first half of this was so good. I was reading this like basically in one sitting, just thinking to myself, I haven't read a book in so long that like makes me excited to read and is so good and so interesting. And then the last half of this book hit, and basically the way this story is told is that it kind of skips back and forth in time because she'll live out her entire life and then die and then have to go back to the beginning. So it's like you're living a life going back, living a life going back, and then at the end of it, it starts to jump back and forth between the day she was born, the day she died, the day she was born. So it just started becoming really convoluted. And this ended on a note where I'm not even sure like what life of hers was real, but maybe that was kind of the point, that like all of her lives blended together and one of them didn't necessarily become the one that she like lived until the end of time. I wish this would have had like a more of a comprehensible ending, just so I know like, was all of this for nothing? Like, I don't know. But then again, it was really beautiful. It made me think.
Okay, it's been like 12 hours since I finished the book, and as I was just editing it just now, I just got the ending. It just clicked. World War II happened. Like, Hitler existed. So she didn't succeed. The fact that like it's in history now just shows that— was that a spoiler? I don't know. I just think like, okay, I didn't get it. I was like, did she succeed or not? Because in the prologue, at the end of the prologue, she pulls the gun out to shoot him and they all shoot her and then she dies. So then she gets reborn. So like if she doesn't make it, oh, I'm shook. Okay, I just got the ending. That's nice. I just had a moment where like my jaw dropped as I was editing this video. It's 5 a.m. I'm so tired.
So even though the last half of this was really rough to get through, my lasting impression of this is going to be just how different it was from anything I've read and how clever the plot was. So I think I'm going to end up giving this like a 4 or 3.5 stars. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. And then I just decided to DNF this manga that I had picked up and I was reading. There's nothing wrong with it. It just has this weird style where instead of having like full pages where it's like this, where all the pictures blend together and there's like a nice little flowing thing, it has this layout where you read it top to bottom on each column, and I just think it's so weird, and these characters are really bland and the story isn't really as cute or sad as I thought it was gonna be. So I just was really confused at the character. I don't know. Wasn't really a fan. I don't know if I'm gonna sell it on Depop or just return it to Barnes & Noble because I bought it recently, but yeah, I was not a fan. But I finally finished some books, so that concludes today's, or I guess this month's vlog. Thank you everyone for keeping up with the Kardashians. I hope you have a wonderful life. I'll see you in my next video. Toodles.